recording agree
Okay.
or whatever. So this way, we are now, if you missed the meeting, we'll be able to watch or tell your friends they can see it again. So I'm going to spotlight our fearless leader here. There you go. All righty.
Oh my, that's a shock. Okay, well, welcome all. And so as my age seems to be getting larger, it somehow correlates with my weight, but we won't go there. So it isn't my age that bothers me as much as the side effects. It's not saying I'm old and worn out, but I make very sure that I'm nowhere near the curb on garbage day. So that's my joke for the day. So now that I can see my earrings, I made these. I made the glass. That was really exciting. There's a whole glass place on Chicago and 37th. So I will go on anyway. So as we went on a retreat, and there were so many of us, it was truly wonderful to see people's legs. By the way, most people do wear pants, just so you know. So I would like to start show and tell. And so I'll start. What the heck, I'm right here. I finished a pair of earrings, though I only see one, but you know, that's all you need. So I did these earrings. There.
Oh, yeah.
Really cute.
Nice,
I
nice.
think I'm tempted to do them again because I would have liked to have stuffed it, but that wasn't part of the instructions. And you know me, I follow all instructions.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, I also made this a pattern from Doris, which, by the way, Doris is so kind to haul all of that stuff for us, and we go through the bins and we have such a good time. So a big thanks to Doris, and a big thanks to Roberta for creating that, for finding the space and making all the deals necessary. I also made this necklace, which was supposed to be in lovely colors, but you know me, colors doesn't go with anything. So I don't know that I can see anybody else who may have a hand up. So,
well, why don't we just
show and tell.
Show and tell. So I'll just go next just because, and then we'll help. So you guys think if you want to show and tell, and you'll raise your hand. So this is also Doris's pattern, the same pattern that she made in a lariat, because you can do it with any multiple hole bead.
You mean this?
That's the same identical pattern. I just happened to use a paisley and a 4mm pearl in between. And I had the attention span of an earring. So that's what I made, with earrings instead of the whole lariat. I was a day tripper. It was my first day there. So then, just in case for all the people who missed our last Saturday, I was then teaching in the afternoon. This is what we did at the Let's Bead Live, and I worked it into an earring. So then I showed a couple people how to make the Celtic knot, and you don't have to use a clasp on the top. You can just fold over your leather. That's it. All you have to do is fold it over. And it works in one little knot like that. So that's what I did in the afternoon on my thing. And so I will remove my spotlight. And so who else?
Jan has a hand up.
Jan, okay, so let's replace spotlight. There you go, Jan.
Okay, I made these
wow.
little Christmas ornaments. The pattern actually has 5 different ones, but and they're the pattern has them kind of hanging in a garland, but I think I'm going to hang them separately. And
I thought those were earrings.
No,
they would make nice earrings.
Yeah, that's eventually what I would do. And then I made these earrings. This is out of Exquisite Stitching. I don't know, is it sitting flat there?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a fun,
pretty.
Okay.
and This is also out of Exquisite Stitching, if I can.
I
pronounce
thought
that.
you were commenting on your work.
No, No, the name of the book, another pretty one. And then I had a
Well,
couple
if
of,
the shoe fits.
Yeah.
so towards the end of the day, when you're brain dead, then you take out the kits. And this is a couple of the diakonos, or however you pronounce that, kits. They're just kind of fun with Mega Thomas.
Fun.
Yeah,
Very nice.
that was my fun.
All righty, who's next? Raise your hand. Okay, Paulette, let me get you. There you go.
So I was
I
working
talk, I'm at a
on
meeting.
Melissa Gurkowski Shippey's curio necklace at the retreat. I just have to finish up the clasp. I'm waiting to see if she has a couple of pearls because I was missing a couple of pearls. I don't know why, but probably me. But let me open up this bag. Different colorway than normal. Usually I wear brighter things. But this
It's
is
so gorgeous.
It is
Oh,
stunning.
my.
Really pretty in person.
Wow.
Pretty, I love how.
Yes, and I'm
three-dimensional-
probably gonna attach these rings, they kind of slide, but. And then I modified this a little bit, but the ring, and then I just have a toggle that you make. So.
Wow.
Beautiful job,
very
Paulette.
pretty. Her
That's-
patterns, I highly recommend her as a teacher and her patterns and kits. They're very easy to follow. Etc. And she's a great teacher. I've taken classes via Zoom, like maybe some of you have, but excellent. I think that's all I have.
Okay, then who's next? All right, big lady, let me get you spotlighted here. There you go.
Well, I took Rochelle's knot class and I'm going to use it as the fringe on a bead embroidery.
Oh,
Oh,
fun.
cool.
The first thing that I finished was a kumihimo rope.
I love it.
Beautiful colors.
Thanks. And then
Yay.
I did a bracelet.
Oh, freeform.
Freeform. I'm
Wow.
not a freeform person. I like things symmetrical, but I braved it and did freeform.
I
Thanks
think
to
you did
Kathy.
great.
Beautiful.
Great job. Really.
You done
And the color is
good, Becky.
green.
And this is the ornament from the last Friday night meeting in Blaine. Well, it looks dark
Cool.
there, but it's red actually.
Oh,
And the next Friday night meeting, I am teaching angels.
Oh,
The-
pretty.
The white
Cute.
one is 4 millimeter and the pink one is 3. And they're done with 28 gauge wire.
cute.
Okay, I'm done.
All righty,
I
who's
did
next?
one more, but I sold it, so I can't show it.
All right, raise your hand if you want show and tell. Anybody else?
Wait, I get a page 2. And I see no hand.
I don't
raised.
see any hands. No Lisa, no Mary, no Natalie, no Linda, no Joanne. Nobody.
Oh,
Okay,
here's
Brenda,
some.
there we go. Let me get
Oh,
you,
here.
Brenda. There you go.
Hi, okay, so I don't have the actual thing. I was gonna try to show you my picture. I made some really pretty earrings from Diane's book, but I don't think it's working. Shoot.
Maybe
Yeah,
it's
it is.
okay.
Yeah.
Put it in your face.
You have to go a little further away.
Further away?
And put it in your
Yeah.
face. Right in front of your face, maybe? I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think it's- There you go, right
Don't
there.
move,
Yay.
don't move.
Good job, good job.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Beautiful.
It's because you have that fancy background on.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I think that's a computer to computer, isn't it? You have.
Yeah,
on-
it is. It's an iPad. I took a
Oh,
picture.
okay,
That's
that's why, I gotcha.
That's why we're having trouble, but very nice, very nice.
Thank you. All righty, who's next? Anybody?
Okay.
Okay, Kathy, let me get you spotlighted.
Not finished, but a lot of you saw this in the works.
Ooh.
Nancy
Oh,
did this great
nice.
piece.
That's so pretty.
And then the
Oh
rest of
my
it is
goodness.
what to do with it. So I started this really bizarre, you know me,
Oh, I like it.
I like
Um,
that.
chain for it, but
I
it's not
like it.
done yet.
Beautiful.
Fabulous.
Very nice, very nice.
Thanks. That's all. We won't talk about the kaleidocycle.
Okay, we won't.
Okay.
All right, anybody else? Okay, so then we're back to our leader here for our next thing on the list.
And the next thing on the list is that Becky needs people for,
Oh, it's Becky. I can spotlight Becky too.
please do.
Let me get her going here.
And she needs volunteers for, drum
I'm
roll,
looking
please.
For volunteers for the bead bazaar, Saturday, the 29th and Sunday, the 30th of October. I have 18 spaces and I only have 2 volunteers. You get in free to the show. The sessions are 10:30 to 12:30, 12:30 to 3, and 3 to 5, both days. It's really fun to sit and talk to people about beading, which is mostly what you do. And you get to know the other person you're sitting with as well. So if you're willing to help us out and demonstrate at the UMBS booth, please email me.
And the other thing is that you get to look at what we're offering for sale at next to nothing.
Yep.
And you get first dibs at
Sale.
it. I've come home with a lot of stuff. I always seem to come home with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I remember when I
So please
volunteered.
help
when I
us
lived up
out
there,
and
it was great.
volunteer to sit at our booth and talk to people about beading.
Mhm.
My email is b.pancakebeads@gmail.com. Thank you.
Okay. Well, the next thing is our officers for next year. And maybe, I think each is like 3 years. I don't know, I've kind of lost count. So president, since I am not going to be president, being as I didn't sign up for the job, Jan is in the running for president.
Yay! So
And
good.
vice president will be Paulette Mazurek. And treasurer is still going to be Nanita. And secretary Barb Benjamin is changing her position and she would like to be secretary. And Rochelle will continue in programs.
Yay.
And
Yay.
yes, yay, because you've done a great job.
Oh, thank you.
And our web person is now going to be Kathy Benton. That is if you vote for her. Special programs will continue to be Roberta Sorensen. Member at large will be Marlene Morris. And membership this time will be Becky Pancake. So we need to have an election. You guys need to vote. Do I need to name the people again, or will you just vote? Shall I say president and all say aye? Okay, I'll tell you what, I'll repeat the names. And you get to say, Jan Carlson for president. All in favor, say
Aye.
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 Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you know, the thing is that because we are Zooming all of our meetings, you don't have to be right in town. You can be anywhere you want to be, except the bathroom.
or traveling across. I guess your interception, Kathy, isn't so great in that 40-foot vehicle you got there.
So for Vice President Paulette, whom you see on the screen, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Perfect. Thank you, Paulette. And let's see, treasurer says the same. Secretary will be Barb Benjamin.
I don't think she's here, is she?
Maybe not.
I don't-
So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Terrific. And I'm not even looking for nays, so there you go. And let's see, Rochelle, Kathy Benton for web designer, web helper, and Nancy Miller and I will be on her committee, so she will have backup. So
Great.
all those in favor of Kathy Benton, aye. Terrific. Okay, let's see who else is there. Roberta said, and member at large is Marlene Morris. All those in favor say aye. Terrific. And last is membership would be Becky Pancake. And all those in favor say
Aye.
terrific. The ayes have it.
Yay.
So that's it.
Yay.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ladies.
everybody, for volunteering to be on our board for next year.
And that, yes, and really, this is such a great group, and it's fun that we get together. And I've been on the board for way too many years, and I'm done. I think we need other people to step up and take charge. So thank you for new people. Thank you for those who are continuing, and yay. And so I'm
Thank you for
done.
your years of service.
Thank you, Maxine.
Yes,
Thank you, Maxine.
I'll keep telling jokes because, you know, she who laughs lasts.
Agreed.
Say. Yeah, I got a box that says that. Okay, so take me off being on. Thank you.
I
And-
did. Okay, so now we have, there we go. There's one.
Oh, that's very big.
I know. And so then we've got, Hannah, where are you? There you are. Let's see. Oh, make a co-host. Sorry. Forgot to
Hi
make a
there.
co-host again. Okay, so then we are adding spotlight and
Hi
then
there. Hi, Hannah.
Hi, sweetheart.
spotlight for a minute there. There you go. Take it away, Hannah.
Well, I'm going to try sharing a screen and we'll see what happens because I'm having some issues with my
If
computer.
it doesn't work, I've got it up here too, so.
Lovely. Let's try it out and you guys can tell me if you see it or not. So.
Oh, there you go.
And you guys can see it okay?
Yep.
Yes.
All righty. Well, it's my pleasure to go ahead. And that didn't work.
Okay.
Stop. Let me try that again. My fault.
What about this?
Or,
There you go.
oh, that looks great. Let's do that. All righty. So it is my pleasure to introduce Amy Katz, our speaker for today. And Amy features artisan style jewelry done exquisitely in beadwork. As an artist, it's her goal to recreate the look of fine jewelry using a mix of beads, crystals, pearls, and more. And when I first met her, that was really what she was using, was these beautiful silver and gold and platinum beads. So let's go on.
Whoops, I went one too many.
There
Come
we
here. This one, there.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So Amy has been part of the bead world of seed beads since '93, and I can't remember when I met you, Amy, but it was soon afterwards.
Pretty
She was
soon.
both, yeah, absolutely. It was a student, a teacher, and a designer. Her admiration for high-end jewelry pieces is her inspiration. As her commitment to her own designs grew, Amy made the decision to give them a fine jewelry look using those seed beads. And once again, they were all gold and silver and platinum, crystals, pearls, and other elegant materials. And using imagination, this vision has come to life as her signature style. Next, please. Amy is a national teacher with a passion for sharing her love of the work, and she's also the co-author, of Beading Across America and author of Seed Bead Cheek. And then I went ahead and just picked out some of my favorite pieces to show off of hers. So here is some of her work. 3 pieces, these all were ones that she sent me photos of. And then the next one were just my very 3 favorites. Just so you could see them.
Nice.
Right.
Very
And I
pretty.
want you to take a look at those photos too, because photography is so important in showing good jewelry and good beadwork. It can really make a piece
Thought I
beautiful.
could zoom in. I'm sorry. I thought I could zoom.
It's okay, not to worry. Those things actually I took off the website. So if you zoomed in, I think they'd be all blurry.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, Amy, I'd like to introduce her. And
Well, hello. How are you all today? It's a nice group. Like your president and her jokes.
we do too.
Today, I'm going to talk to you about my bead journey, which also happens to be the name of my company. I hope that through this chat, you get some further insight into the bead world. And as you listen, try to think about what I'm saying in terms of your own bead journey. So it was 1992, and that was the year when Hurricane Andrew hit. Bill Clinton received the Democratic Party nomination and won the presidential election. Woody Allen had a forbidden affair with his adopted daughter. The Redskins won the Super Bowl and haven't since. And The Silence of the Lambs won the Oscar for Best Picture. And that was also the year my son was born. And after his birth, I returned to work and taking care of him. I loved it, but I wanted a little hobby, something I could do while he was napping. And I also needed some ability to create. So I signed up for a beading class. And in taking the class, I found out there was more to it than I thought. My first experience was with knotting beads, something I haven't done in years and don't plan to do anymore. I kept cutting the piece apart and doing it until I finally got it to my liking. And it took weeks to feel like I developed the skill to sit and knot. And then after I mastered that one technique, I started taking other classes and learning new things, and I got hooked. And so started the bead craze. I would buy beads whenever I could. Of course, the selection back then was not nearly what it is now, and I started to make some pieces to wear and a few to sell. At the time, it was in the business. There was no plans for a business. It was just fun and a little extra money here and there. I really wanted to learn more about beads. Then I discovered the embellishment shows in Texas. Has anyone been to those? Those shows were the predecessor to Bead and Button. And I went out there and I took classes from bead artists across the country. And for me, that was just such an exhilarating experience. I learned so much. And then with my new knowledge at hand, I started to teach a couple of classes. But time went on. I forgot about beads for a few years. I had 2 kids now and a business, and my free time just didn't exist anymore. And then in the early 2000s, something in me wanted to pick up those beads again. So I went up to the Bead and Button show for inspiration, and those old feelings of love for the beads started to return. And from there, I never went back. For several years, I remained a hobbyist, and I enjoyed every minute of it. I had a public relations business and a family. Everything was going well until the public relations business started to change. I had a choice. I could change with the public relations business, or I could go full-time to the beads. I really wanted to go full-time to the beads, but what I had to figure out was, did I have the talent to do this? So I had to find out if I could design. And at first, this was really confusing. I had no idea what direction to take. I would spend a lot of time in fine jewelry stores, so much time that I think they thought I was some kind of a stalker. But this is where my eyes seemed to go. And even though the connection wasn't quite registering with me yet, this is the way it just was a feeling. And one day I decided I was going to try to create a cable bracelet, kind of the ones that you saw in the stores. Let's see if there's a better angle for this. It's hard to. And this was the first design that I had done. But the first thing I had to figure out were mechanics. I wanted it to fit my wrist, and I didn't want to have a clasp. So I came up with the idea of using heavy wire. And I tried different gauges and found one that I found pleasing. And then I had to figure out what kind of stitch would go around this wire. That was probably the hardest thing to come up with. And I decided that twisted herringbone was a good choice. The wire would fit through that. And the final thing was I had to put the caps onto the piece, and I wanted them to sparkle. I'm not sure how to hold this. That's part of the problem here. So I came up with an idea of using a peyote stitch to increase around the rivoli and then to form a base. And that design, Davita's Dream, took me about 6 months to complete. I wanted to take my time with this. I wanted to be successful with this. And it was quite a process. The key to designing, in my opinion, is to develop your own process. Once you feel comfortable with this, the sky's the limit. I wish I could just give you a template for developing a process, but I can't. You have to figure out what stitches you're comfortable with, what goes together, and how to deal with what comes out of the beadwork versus what is originally in your mind. I can tell you that most of the time, the beadwork wins. None of my pieces come out exactly how I initially visualized them, but the question is it what I'm creating pleasing to me? If the answer is yes, I begin tweaking the process. If the answer is no, then unfortunately I start again. It is truly hours of work, and I think to come up with a successful design, you have to be dedicated to it. You will fail, and you must learn that you have to fail in order to succeed. The other key to developing jewelry is to come up with a genre. For me, it was fine jewelry. I always loved the look of fine jewelry, and I decided that was my goal to capture the look in my pieces. And as Hannah was saying, I use a lot of palladium and gold-plated beads. I use a lot of crystals. I use a lot of things that give that fine jewelry look to my pieces. Every once in a while, I stray. This was a stray, a pretty complete stray, actually. These are my skulls that I figured because it was this time of the year, I would show them. They are fondly named Rick, and Ricky because my husband, who is a Rick, decided to be very snarky to me while I was designing this piece. So he got that named after him. But I always do come back to a fine jewelry look because that's what I really, really love. I'm just bringing out my brilliance piece here to show you just an example of that. Another thing that I will talk about as a little bit of an aside is sometimes your designs don't come to you right away. Now, I always wanted to create a heart, and it took me 4 years to figure it out and 20 minutes to make it. Heart. This is the heart that took 4 years to make. I had no idea how to make this, but I wanted to make a heart, and I wanted it to be something beaded and not bead embroidery and actually stitched. So anyway, I've got my design rhythm, and then my old friend marketing was next. It was something I was pretty good at, so I had some confidence with this next step. I was pretty well connected with other bead artists and people in the field. I'd taken so many classes and made many contacts, and my knowledge of marketing helped greatly. It's truly a key to success, and I knew how to connect myself and get started, which is a big benefit. Because of this, I was able to get my name out quicker. I was able to teach across the country more quickly. Of course, it was all very hard work, but knowledge did play a big role. And I will tell you, follow-up is truly a key. Nobody's going to chase after you for information about your work. You need to be organized, and you need to send out anything that is relevant to a job promptly. I've been told by store owners, show coordinators, that they love working with me because I get everything done as stated on time. And honestly, if you're going to hire someone for any kind of job, do you want a person to show up in time and bring the right tools, or would you rather chase them to get the information you need? Make it easy on anyone hiring you. This is certainly how they certainly have other things to do besides chase after you, and you're only one thing on their list. So I was teaching nationally and getting recognized for my work. So I said, why not write a book? I really wasn't ready at that point for my own book yet, but I had this idea called Beading Across America, which Hannah showed you also before. And I wanted to include artists from all over the country in this book. I pitched the idea to Paulette Barron and Sherry Serafini. They loved it. And we pitched the idea to Comeback at one of the Bead and Button shows. And I actually gave Comeback a new idea. From then on, they were asking people to, years later, to bring their book ideas to them to present them at the show. So a little bit of my marketing rubbed off on them. Initially with this book, I wanted an artist to represent each and every state. Comeback thought that was just too much for one book, so we settled for less states. Writing a book is a compromise. It's also an exploration. Finding the artist to be in the book was not the problem, as I had so many who did want to be part of it. The most difficult part was getting all the projects and instructions to have the same voice. Each artist writes their instructions very differently, and it was my job to give the projects one voice, which was very, very difficult. The other part of the process was testing all the projects to make sure they worked, especially after I changed the voice. So we found testers. Sometimes we just gave them blank written instructions and asked them to figure out the project. This helped us greatly in making a lot of the necessary changes. And once the book was complete, the editing process began, and this was hours of going through each project to make sure it was doable. This is the point where I found myself questioning, why did I get into this in the first place? I couldn't really rationalize the answer until the final product, and then I knew it was worth it. And then I went on to write a second book on my own, Seed Bead Chic. It was a little easier dealing with the edits on my own projects, but there were other things that made the process challenging. First, I had to come up with all of the designs myself in a short amount of time, about 6 months. And I had to write all of the instructions on the deadline. It took some experience in the bead world to be creative on the deadline, but I managed it. And I think I created some very nice pieces for that book. Well, time goes fast in the bead world, and I continue to travel and teach, and then I added Etsy to my mix as well. And as I did this, I always stayed true to my fine jewelry concept. I don't think I'll ever relinquish it. I feel like it defines me as an artist. And then, like for all of us, COVID hit. And COVID's been a unique challenge for bead teachers. I, for one, do not like to do too much electronic teaching. I feel like if all of you know the stitch is great, it's not a problem. You teaching electronically is fine, but if you don't, my value as a teacher kind of fades away. I'm a very hands-on person, and it's difficult for me to be otherwise. So one of my marketing goals that I still haven't attained from COVID is to and have not yet achieved, is to find a way to be more hands-on with the computer. What I did do during COVID is I used my time to be a little bit more creative. So I made some new pieces. These are my little moonlight lullabies, which I'm getting back online now after my move. And there's another one that I did, which is Flower Power. And these, I did a lot of beading during COVID, as you could see. This is the Serendipity bracelets. Turn that way. And so I also started working with metal over COVID. I like metal smithing a lot. I learned some stuff online. I also found a small class where she allowed like 3 people to come and take the class with masks on. And I did that as well. One of the keys in the bead world is always learning. And you always try something new. You never know what's going to stick and what makes your work better. But most importantly, you need to love your art. I truly love beads. I live and breathe them. They do not fill my time. They make my time complete. I hope you feel the same way about your bead work. To me, it's truly exhilarating. In conclusion, designing is a very personal process. Beading is also a very personal journey. You need to find yourself within the beads, then bring it out for the rest of the world to see. One piece of advice I will give you in closing is make the designs totally your own. When creating a piece, don't ask a friend for opinions. Put your opinion into it only. Everyone has a different idea, and if you listen too hard to others, your piece will become their ideas. This is not as satisfying. Make this your passion and make it your satisfaction. And thank you all for having me today.
And so do we have any questions for Amy from anyone? You can unmute and ask. All your designs are so beautiful. How did you?
Oh, well, thank you.
I love the cuff wrap design, especially the second one that you came up with. The one over, yeah, that one. I just love.
I actually did 2 versions of this. I did the Vida's Redreamed also, as when I, years later, because I think that was very important to kind of update it a little bit. So I think Hannah had I sent Hannah a picture of that one. I was trying to pick some different things so we weren't showing you all the same things. And I'm getting some of your comments, and I really appreciate it. Everybody's thanking me for the gorgeous designs and for sharing them. And I really appreciate that very, very much.
So
I'm very happy.
Yeah.
The
Would you
first
ever
pair
write
of
another book?
necklaces that you showed, what did you have in the center?
In the center of which one?
The first pair of necklaces that you showed, you said.
Oh, was it this one here?
Yes.
that
What-
one.
That's
do
one
you
of
have
Maku Raku's pieces. I fell in love with Mac's piece, and I decided to design something around her piece.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
They're lovely.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
What size wire do you use inside the bracelets?
I use a 14 gauge. That's what I found held up the best.
And you could still manipulate it to do
I
what
could
you wanted.
manipulate it, and it does. I mean, I've had these bracelets since the onset. I've never replaced the wire inside them.
Excellent.
Are these designs in your books?
No, actually, I did not. My book, Seed Bead Chic, which has my designs, I did all separate designs. I decided that it really wasn't fair to have people pay for a class and take my class, and then I gave them all the designs that that they're all in the book, that you could buy the book from Amazon for $19.95 or whatever. So I made sure I totally had different designs in the book. So the book it's completely different. I have an Etsy site, Amy Katz Bead Journey. And Hannah, may I tell them what I did?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I put everything on sale for you guys for 15% off on the kits and the instructions if you want any of them. So till tomorrow.
Okay.
I did that for you guys. So if you want to take a look at what I have.
I have your Beat Across America book, and I love that book. It's so cool.
Oh, well, thank you.
I looked and I was looking on Amazon for this book, and so it does come up. So it's very cool.
Yep, it's an oldie. I think they're gonna retire it soon. So if you want it, I would get it now. I'm probably not writing any more books, and I'm not sure how many people are writing books these days because the publishing world is just not selling books.
Aren't they doing online versions as well too, or have you thought of that, or?
I
no?
have thought about that, of doing an online version. It may be something I look into in the future, but publishing in itself, I don't really want to self-publish because after doing the steps through this twice with publishers, I could see the value of the publisher. It's really worth it to have the publisher. So I don't want to self-publish a book because there could be so many mistakes in it. Yeah.
So you can blame somebody else if there's something wrong, right?
Well, it's not that I could blame somebody, but there's so many eyes on it with the publisher. Like with Seed Bead Chic, Melissa Kurkowski was my eyes. She's the one who did the final editing with me. And it was hours and hours of work. She would come to me and say, I don't understand this. And I'd come back to her and say, I don't understand what you don't understand. And then we would come to a term and an agreement. And, it all helped. It made it really good. But, you had to go through the process, and you need that. So.
And so, what's your favorite part about your design process?
When I really come up with something great and it's finished, I think that's the joy. I spend a lot of time, I'll start something and it will look like nothing. And then all of a sudden, I add something to it and I'm like, oh, that's something. And then I keep adding to it and pulling things away. And then I enjoy seeing what I finished finally. I really enjoy that.
That's great. Sometimes I give up, I think, too soon before, so I just don't like it, and then I just give it up. So maybe you just
don't give it up, put it aside. Put it aside, because you never know. Like I said about my hearts, 4 years I thought about those hearts, and then one day I was doing something else, and I said, I know how to make this heart.
Yeah.
And I said, right angle weave is the way to make this heart. And in 20 minutes, I made a heart. So you just never know.
Right. Well, your Toho Challenge design, one of them had a whole bunch of hearts in it, didn't it?
That was the hearts I used on the Toho Challenge design.
Yeah, that was a really beautiful one. And so, are you still selling those heart patterns, or the pattern for the hearts?
The pattern for the bracelet is up on my website.
So, I think
I have about 75 patterns up there.
Wow.
I have quite a library.
what's it called? Can I,
Heart's Desire,
Heart's Desire?
Heart's Desire.
And it had a whole bunch of little crystals in it too.
Oh,
didn't it?
yeah. I
Yeah,
thought-
and you certainly, if you want to, you can make the heart and you can make the bracelet. I used those little beads, those little button beads. What were they called, with the crystals in the middle of them? You could also take a demi round and a 2 millimeter round crystal, and you can get the same look.
See?
That is beautiful.
Let me put the bracelet up here so you can see it while we're talking about it.
Wow.
There it is.
There's the gold one. There's the silver one somewhere. But you could, this little piece in the center is, you don't need to use the little button beads. You could use a demi round, an 8/0 demi round in the crystal.
Mhm.
See if I could get that up closer. And you could get the exact same look. Don't be afraid to try new things. I mean, that's,
Right. And
Guys, I've put a bunch of,
there's a bunch of links in the chat for all of the different patterns to your Etsy site, all the different Hannah put up there. So
yeah, and yeah, just if you're not even interested in buying it, it's always interesting to take a look. So feel free to look through it and see what I have and see what I've done.
yeah, because your stuff, like you said, it's so inspired by not only almost even Victorian jewelry too. Besides, it has just such elegance to it. That
I did a Victorian design called the Queen's Tear.
Oh, yeah, I'm
No.
just looking at that right now. Cool.
And I have the jet. I have jet if people want jet to put into the pattern. I think I have it up on my Etsy site somewhere, but I had bought all this jet and I didn't know what to do with it. So I decided I was gonna do something Victorian.
yeah.
Very cool.
So sometimes you're inspired by the actual beads instead of something else to start with.
Yes, I mean, the inspiration comes everywhere, but a lot of it comes from, I'll sit and watch TV and I won't be watching the show as much as what's around the person's neck. I'll be like, show me a bigger picture of that character with that necklace on. I really like that necklace, and things come from everywhere. But fine jewelry stores were really the place I went to look all the time at different jewelry and get my inspiration.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, thank you. Your stuff is so beautiful.
Well,
And
thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. This was actually a lot of fun.
we love hearing about your design process and your designs.
Well, thank you.
Any other questions from anyone, comments?
I just want to say either Rochelle or Hannah, can you talk about our fundraiser, please?
Hannah, are you still here?
I am. We are going to be doing an online fundraiser in November. It's going to be, I believe, beginning the week starting November 15th. And I am looking for donations for it. The reason I'm going to be doing it is I'd like to be able to get us more wonderful people like Amy in and teaching and actually teaching classes as well as speaking to us. And I'd also like to be able to pay our Saturday Meeting Live teachers. Up until now, they have donated their time to us. And so what I'm doing is I am going to be taking in donations. I'll take photos unless you want to take the photos of your work. And then I also will be doing the shipping for you if you don't want to do it yourself. Marcia, I know, has already given me a photo, and she's going to ship the item that she is donating. And once again, so we're using that for to get new and great artists like Amy speaking for us, and also to teaching to go ahead and be able to pay our Saturday Beading Live teachers. We do a Saturday Beading Live once a month. And this upcoming month, and on the, I believe it's the 15th, isn't it, Rochelle?
It is Saturday, the 15th from 1 to 3.
Yeah, Karen Bruns will be teaching a set of earrings called the Cosmic Earrings. And the information about that is already on our website, but I'd love to see everybody there. It's a free class, and we do it Facebook Live, and we also do it, I think it gets put up onto our YouTube. So that's about our fundraiser. And if anybody has any other ideas on what we can add to our programming, please let Rochelle and I know.
Hannah?
Yes.
There's a question about from Evelyn. Yes, you can donate things that you've made using somebody else's pattern. Just please tell us whose pattern it is. Like I'm Paulette, and I made Doris's blah 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 blah, so that we can credit everybody, you as the artist who made it, and then the designer whose pattern you bought in order to make it. We would like to know any information about the item, so that when it's sold to somebody, then they know everybody, and we cross promote all the different people who deserve to be promoted. We want, so
and Hannah is going to be at the Bead Bazaar. So if you have a piece you want to donate, you can bring it to the Bead Bazaar and give it to her.
Right.
Another idea is like a lampworked bead and seed beads to go with it, for like a kit for someone to do a project. But you don't have to do instructions. You can leave that up to the person who buys it.
Right.
Hannah, I'll be happy to send you something.
Oh, that would be nice. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Amy.
just let me know where you want me to send it to.
Okay, I'll have you send it directly to me, and I'll give you that information a little bit later on. Anybody who does want to send it in, I'll put that in. Now, that item, the auction will be going on online onto our Facebook page, not the group, but the page. The page is accessible by anybody, and so anybody, even people who are not members, can vote. Not vote. I can bid on them. And I think that's all I have to say about that.
So it's a bidding process type thing. Is that what you're saying?
I think we haven't quite worked that out yet. I don't know whether or not it's going to be buy it now or a bid, or it'll be up to the artist who donates. I haven't decided that yet, and that's something I think I need to talk more with Rochelle about.
right,
But
and just figure out how, because we want to raise money. So if you were buying something, just give us your feedback. Would you want to have a set price, or would you want to do a bidding auction as your feedback? What would you guys prefer, or think more people would get involved in? What do you think, Paulette?
I think you could do the beat-in process, but I would also maybe set a starting point on some of the prices so that you can meet your goal quicker. Might be a good idea. I do like that what Becky said about a kit or something like that. I made some kits using, one time I picked a magazine, and it was Sarah Sarfini's, one of her items that she did, or one of the bead embroidery, I think it was hers. And so I collected all the stuff to make the kit and put the magazine in it, and we raffled it off. And I've also done that with the book, and just pick something I thought was kind of interesting, and then put a kit together. And so they got a book so they can make other things, and then they got a kit. So that's also for people that maybe feel like, oh, I don't know if I can, make something, or I have something. That's a good way that they could participate.
It
in the
is a
second
really
process.
good way. Or maybe if you have an autographed book of yours that you wrote, or
Yeah.
but that's the whole idea, is all of us beaders love all those kind of things. We love patterns.
Mhm.
We love kits. We love finished jewelry. We love vintage things. We love handmade beads, handmade cabs, handmade, all those things that we could then make our own stuff for. So that's the idea. This is not a garage sale. This is a raise money, and yet also promote the artisans that we have in our group. And so to help more people also find you as an artisan. So when you submit your stuff, we'll also put in a link to the shop or your link to wherever you want us to put a link to. So then, but yeah, Doris had the idea of starting point, but then a buy it now price that would be higher. Because like Marcia's donating all this kit, price, book, pattern, etc. And this is the value of it. It's like a $90 value. You can tell us this is what this is, and then
I do want to say one more thing, if I could. Sometimes we've done this via Zoom as well, or in person, but we've always had, raffle prizes, and sometimes they're pretty substantial prizes, books and kits. Like you said, sometimes they were signed, sometimes they were things we got donated from an artist or something like that. And it's really easy to even do it via Zoom, because you can set up to buy raffle tickets. There's a spinner picket that you can do online that you can put the names in and it spins, and then you can figure out, if your people are in the area, they can pick it up someplace, or you can, if you're like me, I'm out of the area, you would mail it to the person. So, and we've always raised quite a bit, here, little chunk of change every meeting doing raffle prizes. So that's something you could maybe do periodically.
right.
Well, there are two things I want to note, and that's that I'm in Oregon, so everything will be mailed that comes to me. And also, my photos are not so bad. So even if you're worried about your photos, like Marcia takes photos that are extraordinary. So she's taken her own photos.
Right, and she's used to shipping all of her stuff.
Right,
all over
but if you're not used to it, and if you're worried about your photos, then I'll take care of all of that for you. And you can either drop it off at the store, or you can ship to me, or you can drop off at the Twin Cities Bead Bazaar.
Mm-hmm. And so the actual time zone of the auction will be which dates now, Hannah?
I'm going to start it probably the 15th and run it for a week afterwards. That's the 15th of November. And run it for a week afterwards.
So that way, that'll be the week before Thanksgiving.
Right.
So it's a perfect holiday shopping time zone.
Right. But I would like everything in my hot little hands by October 31st, so I have time to photograph it.
If it needs to be photographed.
If it needs to be photographed, right. So, or the information with the attaching photograph already via email or whatever. By the end of October, I would like to have everything set so I know what we've got and can get going.
So we're all excited.
And absolutely, I'm excited too, but absolutely also remember that on the 15th of this month, we do have that Saturday Beading Live that you should come to. It's going to be a gorgeous pair of earrings. And I've gone ahead and I think I pinned that up in the group, the Great Lake, not the Great Lakes, sorry about that, the Upper Midwest Bead Society. I pinned that in. Okay, it's on the website, it's pinned in the group, and it's also pinned on the Facebook page.
And I'll let everybody know also that she's got kits.
Right. Karen has kits for that because it uses a very specific a very specific cabochon. And after she teaches that class, we're going to try something new, and we'll see how it works. I hope it works really well. We're going to try a live trunk show of her fused glass. She actually talked about it, I believe, in February, and we asked for a trunk show then, but we've finally gotten around to it. She's going to do fused, and she's also going to do cabochons that are done with alcohol inks. So she's going to teach that class, and then she's going to do a live Facebook sale trunk show. Yes. And Amy, yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for this wonderful program and for showing us your work. And you're I see you talking, but you're on.
Leave her alone.
She is on
You're muted, Amy.
Muted, right? So we can't hear what you're saying. But thank you so much for this fabulous program.
And thank you for having me. I enjoyed it very much.
Can you show us that piece that you're wearing?
Oh, sure. This one is not for sale.
But it's still fabulous. What is that?
Gotta get it off my neck.
Your keyboard here, Amy. That way you can.
Doesn't want to come off.
It loves you. We love it.
It loves
on the
me.
spot
I'll get it off. Give me a minute. I'll show it to you.
We have your face spotlighted too, so if it doesn't come off, you can just smile beautifully.
It come off. I don't have a beaded clasp on this one. That's why it's so hard. I actually have a sterling silver and diamond clasp on this one.
Ooh,
It's
fancy.
really stuck. Let's see if I could just move it closer to the camera.
Yeah,
Oh, that's really fabulous. What is that stone in the center? Is that an emerald?
It's an
or-
emerald.
Oh my gosh.
I bought that from
Holy
Bollywood
mackerel.
Beads. I don't know if you all knew Arun,
Wow.
but he passed away not too long ago.
Wow.
Very sad because he was only in his late 30s, I believe, late 30s. And he was a lovely guy. I used to get wonderful stones from him.
But I mean, you could walk the runway, red carpet with that. I mean, that's, I love it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you for all the inspiration and everything.
Sure, and stay in touch with me, guys.
Absolutely. We will do. Check out her website. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a lovely evening, everybody.
You too. All right. Stop.